Welcome everyone. Welcome. Yeah. I see I have some like-minded people in my chat. That's refreshing. Because I know this is gonna bring some haters too, because he gets to hide behind the idea of being an advocate for a victim of SA, which is great. Okay, you can absolutely do that, but that's going to bring me to another point, as I'll get to soon enough. So, and yes, Shay B, I'm glad I'm doing this too, and I'm thinking about it, and I'm hoping that I am able to bring some of the hate views over here instead of giving him the views, if possible, which I know wouldn't make much of a dent. I get that. He has a lot of subs and he has a lot of haters, and a lot of haters who have no fucking idea who I am. And that's okay. But we're gonna stream them. Uh, we're gonna stream them, but I'm going to kind of, I guess, more or less, gives a slight introduction as to why I'm doing this. Um, I am really annoyed in with how the Summer Wells investigation is going. And I'm not in any way, shape, or form blaming law enforcement, or at least the law enforcement and agencies that are charged with the responsibility of finding Summer and finding answers as to what happened to her. In no way, shape, or form am I blaming them. I think that they are doing the best that they can. I truly, honestly believe this. I think that the TBI is doing everything that they possibly can. I think that um, I think that Hawkins County Sheriff's Department is doing everything that they possibly can. I think that EquiSearch is doing everything that they possibly can. And I think that the FBI is doing everything that they possibly can. Let him try to strike me. He can try to strike me. I mean, he won't win. Because, I mean, oh yeah, I'm getting all these warnings that Chris M will try to strike my channel because he's been known to do that. And I can honestly say without any lack of conviction whatsoever, Christopher McDonough, you can kiss my ass, kiss both sides of my ass if you try to strike me, because you won't win. I'll counter strike, and eventually all these strikes you're throwing at people when they're applying fair use, well, that's eventually just going to look bad on your channel, and eventually you're going to get shut down. So I'm not worried about you. I'm not scared of you. You can kiss my ass. So without any further ado, let me go ahead and stream his bullshit content real quick. Under fair use, because this in the least bit counts as criticism. Okay, now let me set this up real quick. So right now what he has, let's see, the title here is Jeannie and Mary, Donwell's stepsisters, speak up. Apparently these women have accused Don Wells of SAing them as they were young children. From what I understand, Don Wells has admitted to this, and I'm not saying that to take any pressure off of Don Wells. If he did this, he's a piece of shit. Even if he was underage at the time, which still at the same time, it's like, you know what I mean? Like a kid doing something to another kid still means that kids are doing bad things. That's horrible, and that makes him as a kid a piece of shit, even if he was, because I believe he was old enough to know better. I believe he was old enough to know that it was wrong. I think that his parents probably were there to say, hey, if you do that shit, you are fucked up and you are wrong. Absolutely. But what I'm saying is, what the fuck does that have to do with what happened to Summer? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. All this is Chris McDonough capitalizing and using Summer Wells' name the same way as any of these other grifters are doing. He's using a situation that has nothing to do with Summer's disappearance to milk money. That is literally all he's doing.
Well, hello.
Hi, Chris.
Hi, Mary. Hi, Jeannie. Good to see you.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How about you, Mary?
And I feel
I'm
for these
doing
women.
good.
I do.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Hi.
can you hear us okay?
Oh, I know Chris.
Yeah,
I know
it's
Chris
just I'm
McDonough
trying to
doesn't give a
watch on
shit about
my
Summer Wells. I know he doesn't care.
my computer and it's like delayed, so it's confusing me.
No problem. No worry. So this is a very safe place as always.
No, it's not.
We have been friends for almost a year now.
Setting it to members
And,
only or setting
in
it
that
to
time,
subscribers only doesn't make
You
it a
two,
safe
in my
place.
opinion, have become
Sorry.
amazingly ahead of where you were and where you are even today. You have absolutely. I'm hoping you're gonna write a book.
Wow.
I'm hoping you both
Yeah,
write a book
I
because
hope that you capitalize
have a
off of
story
this the way that
of
I have
courage
capitalized off of
and
it.
survival to talk about. And for folks that are new with us, both Jeannie and Mary and Trish.
Yeah, and
Jeannie's
because most
daughter
of you are
came
new to
forward
this
in the very
because
beginning,
you're not able to comment
when
unless
Summer
you
went
subscribe to my
missing,
channel translation.
to share their experience with TBI. And Jeannie, you called TBI, and I know they took notes, but they didn't quite take it serious at that time.
Maybe it's because it has
And
nothing to
so
do with Summer's
somehow I got
disappearance.
a phone call from your daughter and saying, "Hey, you
This
need
guy
to
sucks so
see
bad.
this story or hear this story." And so anyway, we all met and talked about it. And from there, it's kind of taken a life of its own. And you guys have filed,
You guys,
and your
have
cases have
filed?
been progressing quite well in Utah. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm very proud of you because you've both been
Oh, shut the fuck up.
able to stay below the radar.
Really? This
Which
is
and
below the
still
radar.
is important. We're
Right.
not here tonight.
I love that.
Just let everybody
How
know.
do people not see the hypocrisy in that? I'm proud of you guys because you managed to stay below the radar, but here you are with your faces showing, talking about your personal shit to my benefit, not yours, my benefit, me being Chris McDonough, my benefit, showing your face and talking about something very personal to you and it being in your benefit, right? And you're managing to stay under the radar, right? This is what Chris McDonough calls under the radar. I love it. Fucking douchebag.
No, we're not going to be here tonight to talk about Mary and Jeannie's case.
No,
that's not why we're here.
Why are you here then?
Okay, so
I'd love to.
The details
of
all of those, unfortunately,
I
you're gonna
can't
have
wait
to
to
wait
hear
till a
this.
court of law because we do not want to jeopardize and or compromise anything that the courts need to.
Then why the fuck do you have them on your channel?
Bring out. But we can tell you this: there were, when Jeannie and Mary came forward, they were the first two, and subsequently there were a total of approximately 7 women. But is that correct? If I remember right, 7.
Really?
Yeah.
And
now I want to be.
Some of
I want
those
to be
aren't
very
even family
clear here,
members.
guys. I want to be very clear about something before I move forward here. I'm not doing this to defend Don Wells in any way, shape, or form. I don't have anything to either defend Don Wells or condemn him for. I don't have any evidence of anything. Okay? Now, you would think that a former police officer would think the same way. You would think that somebody who is sitting here spitting out reasons why he doesn't want to interfere with an investigation because it could affect a court case, you'd think that he would apply that shit. But what's funny is he's sitting there doing that and saying these things, but he's actually interfering with an investigation right now. Do you think that law enforcement, if they are actually investigating and trying to bring these women justice, if their claims are true and they can actually convict Don Wells on SA against these women, do you think that law enforcement would approve of them being on this channel and talking to him and talking to all of his fucking blind subscribers? Do you really believe that? Sorry if I seem mad, guys. I am a little mad. It's really funny. I was just emailing someone, another creator who recently I was in her chat today, and she emailed me going, "Hey, I really admire how you do things and blah, blah, blah." And I was really appreciative of that. And, you know, how do you handle it? Blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, you know what? I try to just find the humor in everything. I make jokes and I laugh and stuff like that. And then this asshole goes live with this bullshit. And I'm eating my words because I'm not finding humor in this at all. I don't think it's funny. I don't think anything about this is funny. It is infuriating what he is doing to these women right now. He is absolutely exploiting them, especially if they are victims.
And we can only imagine how many others there are. And Utah has been investigating these cases. And so you guys have been absolutely, in my opinion, superheroes for Little Summer.
Wow.
Because as
Wow.
you said early on, the two of you,
This guy sucks.
you only came forward because Summer gave you the courage to come forward. Now, isn't that an interesting dynamic, right?
Yeah.
It's an interesting dynamic. And so hopefully there will be charges soon coming down the pipeline for Mr. DW. And what I've always said on this channel,
DW.
is,
Like, we don't know who the
we
fuck
had
you're
two
talking
trains
about.
going. We have Summer's disappearance, and then we had all of his other victims and survivors now.
You see the implication there? You see the implication there? He says we have Summer's disappearance, and then we have his other victims, including Summer as being one of his victims. It's a very slick thing that he's trying to do there, creating a narrative that Don Wells had something to do with Summer's disappearance, even though there's literally zero evidence to indicate this. None. And I'm not defending Don. I am talking about the investigation. I am talking in the sense that I feel that him, as a former law enforcement officer, should be speaking the same way. He should be thinking on the same level. What he's doing is exactly what the TBI held a press conference asking YouTubers to not fucking do. And he's doing that right now.
On the other side of that coin. And, for you, Mary, you were 13, and others, and Jeannie, it started when you were 5. And for you, Jeannie, it progressed for over 7 years. And so, first of all, as always, everybody show some love in the chat here for these two superheroes, and let's encourage them to write that book.
And translation.
After this is
translation, show some love by super chatting. I have a PayPal and I have a Cash App, so please make sure to show some love to these women who are not going to see a fucking dime out of all the money that I make off of exploiting them on my channel.
is over, and justice has been done. But what's interesting here is I got a phone call a couple of days ago. I had another program scheduled for tonight.
Mhm.
And these two superheroes said, hey, we've been talking and we want to talk to you about a theory or at least.
Translation. Again, I'll be doing these translations all night, by the way, folks. I had another live stream scheduled but I knew that I would make more money in super chats if I had these women to exploit, because this is more drama, and the drama attracts more super chats. So I knew I'd get more views in super chats by exploiting these women.
Or at least try to, um, connect some dots based on our experiences with him. And they've been reading the letters, and I'm not sure what kind of, precipitated you guys reaching back out, but at the same time, when you sent me over what your thoughts were, and knowing you guys, knowing him better than, probably a lot of people, obviously, if anybody. Okay. Let's lay the ground rules for the. I want to lay the ground rules for the listening audience to make sure they understand that. Number one, some of these ideas are just that, they're ideas. They're not necessarily evidentiary fact, but based on how you
Disclaimer: I don't have any proof of anything, but people take everything that I say seriously because I'm an ex-law enforcement officer.
guys have understood his MO, modus of operandi,
Modus of
and how
operandi.
his grooming tactics, that's kind of what pulled you to the front with Summer. And I know I'm long-winded here because I just want to make sure everybody's clear that you guys came forward.
So
in
what's
the very
what's the underlying implication here? Like, let's just cut through the fucking fat, right? What's the underlying implication here, Chris McDonough? Chris McDonough? What's the underlying implication here? So, because I'm sitting here going, what's the connection between these women and Summer Wells, right? What's the implication between what's the connection between the two, right? But the implication would be, what else could it be? Are you implying that Don Wells raped Summer to death? Like, is that what you're implying? Because that's the only thing that makes any sense as to you bringing up you being an former law enforcement officer, right? A former investigator, right? A renowned investigator, Chris McDonough. You being this, well, then the only thing that makes any sense as to why you're even talking about this shit would be that you were implying that Don did something horribly sexual in nature to Summer, which led to her death. I mean, whereas we don't even know that she's dead. We don't know what happened to her. We have absolutely no fucking clue. Law enforcement, according to them, don't have any clues. But you've got all the answers, right? You've got all the fucking answers. Uh-huh. Okay.
very beginning
Okay.
for Summer. She empowered you to come forward. And now
This is all fucking manipulation and trying to tie. He keeps adding Summer's name to somehow justify this shit. Somehow tying those things in, right? But they're not tied at all. The only tie between them are his bullshit words. There's no tie. He's not naming any type of evidentiary statements. Nothing at all. He's saying you gave Summer strength. You gave that little girl hope. Oh, Summer this and Summer that. No, bro. There's nothing going on between whatever the fuck they're talking about and Summer's disappearance. Show me the evidence. Give me something that ties them, Mr. Former Investigator, who understands exactly how a court of law works and how evidence works in order to convict somebody properly beyond a reasonable doubt. Please connect the two for once. Give me some point here that connects Summer's disappearance to what you're doing right here.
you have been paying it forward in hopes that her case can be solved respectfully, and that the information you've provided now
How?
has some
How is it going to provide
some
anything?
foundation.
At best.
So the letters.
Okay. And I'm not even a fucking
Let's
lawyer.
talk about
I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an investigator, but I have enough common sense to know. Okay. And I hope you people do too. I have enough common sense to know that at best, this will work as some sort of way to attack his credibility, to make him look bad in front of a jury. That's it. It's not going to connect the cases in any way. And I would think that a defense attorney could object to it easily and have their testimonies thrown the fuck out. And the only reason that their testimonies wouldn't get thrown the fuck out is because they feel bad as to what their experiences were. Yet, at the same time, we don't have any evidence that that shit actually took place other than Don supposedly admitting to one of these. Now, I didn't hear that, but most people did. I never actually heard it. I don't know. But I'm not saying it didn't happen. What I'm saying is even still, how the fuck is this going to get him convicted of something that happened to Summer? In what way, shape, or form will that happen in a court of law?
talk about the letters and
The
your
letters.
opinions on when you first saw them, what brought us to this point tonight. And by the way, for everybody else, if I don't see your information coming in here, super chats and all that, don't worry about it. We're here for Summer.
I'm sorry that I
and-
can't
and
acknowledge
miss you.
all
I
your
apologize
super
up
chats.
front, but just
I
so you
can't
know,
look at the
gonna
chat,
stay
but so
focused with
thank you
Jeannie
in
and Mary
advance for all your
on
super
their
chats.
ideas in relationship to what they think potentially could be
Clearly, that's what's
connecting
on his mind.
some of the dots here.
Clearly, that's what's on his
So
mind.
let's start with the letters, and this is just kind of a throw it out there. So what are your thoughts?
Go ahead, Jeannie.
Oh, okay. Well,
Now on his last letter, I never
Go
did
ahead.
read that. I never did see the very last one. I just seen I think the first letter. So I don't know. So I'm not really quite sure what was in the last letter. I know there was like a poem or something that he had written or something, or so
Now,
I'm
I
not
don't want to
quite sure what
attack a
was in that.
victim, okay? I don't want to attack a victim. And there could be a number of reasons as to why this person is not aware of the contents of the letter. But if somebody is so driven by hatred, right? Somebody's so driven by anger as to how this person had traumatized and victimized them, well, then why isn't she up to date on everything? If she's such an advocate for trying to find out what happened to Summer, because what happened to me was so traumatizing that I don't want that to happen to any other little girl again, then why in the fuck does she not even know what the hell those letters say? I mean, like I said, I don't like the idea of attacking a victim. I don't feel that I am attacking her. I am just pointing out certain things. I'm pointing out certain observations that I'm making. That's it. I'm not saying one way or the other. If she was SA'd, I feel very bad for her. And a lot of victims, they will react differently. But if this were somebody that the whole public was suspicious, if this were Don, let's say, right up here, if this were Don sitting here on this panel, and we were talking about a letter from Summer, right? Then we would sit there and attack Don and go, "How do you not know the contents of that letter? Oh my God!" And the pitchforks would be flying. So come on, man. Come on, man.
In that one.
Okay. Jeannie, any thoughts?
well, I just know that certain things that stuck out to me. The one line where he says, "Summer needs to be in school."
I
needs
love
to
that
be,
real lady justice is in this chat.
learning you know, what sticks out me with that statement is that's kind of the only kind of an odd thing to just throw out there. And I've noticed that in all his interviews and things, when they ask about, you know, what are your
Blank
hopes?
screen,
What are
stop
your,
it. Blank
you know,
screen will
and
kill me.
he'll state things like, well, I hope she's not being hurt. I hope she's not being, you know, in my opinion, that
Yeah.
makes me feel like he might know where she is.
Why would
somewhere
that
where
make
she
you feel
can't
like he
go to
knows where she
school.
is?
You know, and later on, as we
So this person right here is saying that because Don specified in the letter who that was targeted to, or at least addressed to the person who may or may not have Summer, because Don believes that Summer was abducted, right? There's no secret about that. Don believes that Summer was abducted. So in that letter, he says, if you have her, whatever, I hope that she's not being hurt. Why does that? How is that in some indication that he knows what happened to her? How, in what fucking way, on what fucking planet does that indicate that he knows what happened to her? That is a father going, I hope that she's not being hurt. I pray that she's not being hurt. I mean, that's insane. Okay, so just so you guys know, I can actually see the super chats. So I want to acknowledge the super chat just met. Thank you. Here's a super duper chat. Glare, this is Will for sure. Find Summer, my awesome super chat. Thank you for covering this. Chris is a creep. I agree with you, Just Mesh. Just to let you guys know, I can see the super chats. Okay, so.
as we talk about these things, you'll kind of see the relevance of different, you know, different parts of that.
Yeah. Yeah. And also it's the same thing. He was on a live with Ziggy.
Even when I
And
tried
with
to not
his
make this
sister,
funny, I
Sonia.
can't help it. So I'm sorry.
And
If you guys find
he
this
was
disrespectful,
saying,
I apologize.
I know she's
Maybe
being
that's how
hurt.
I deal
know
with
what
shit.
they're
I
doing
just
to
find
her.
humor in shit.
I know she's,
Sorry.
you know, being essayed. I know they're beating the crap out of her.
What?
You know, all them statements like he knows where she's at and he knows what they're doing.
How do you know that?
So
Okay, so let's go through some of the ideas here, right? So we know that Don early on he went to Utah, right? That was always a question as to why he would go to Utah.
Yeah.
People go to Utah
And
for all kinds of fucked up
so
reasons.
he had initially claimed that he went there, and
Why
correct
does
me if
anybody
I'm
go to
wrong,
Utah?
okay? Because I'm getting old, and I want to make sure that we stay factual, right?
Stay factual.
And so initially he said that he went there for work, and then he went there to kind of check out whether or not he was going to move the family back out to Utah. Okay. And so the question is, what do you guys now? Now, Jeannie, you've been laying low for almost a year now. Just under, right?
A lot of people go to Utah to become Mormons. That happens.
And
so you know.
What do you think? What do you make of that idea? The initial idea of him saying he was moving to Utah.
His family lives there. That's also a
there for work,
pretty good reason.
Family.
Well, at that time, I just felt like he was running again. Until some of this other information has come out. But then obviously,
see now,
that
bothers me. Okay, see, because I really, man, I am. If there's one type of person that my heart really, really goes out to, it is victims of SA. Okay, this is a fact. Anybody who's been following this channel knows this about me. But it's really, really, really hard to find people credible when they make statements that these women are making right now, because they are talking completely out of their fucking asses. I hate to disrespect victims. I do, but I'm sorry. Victim or not, these women aren't making any fucking sense at all. I mean, am I crazy? Am I just being a dick? Because there are times where I can just be a dick. I get that. But am I just being a dick right now when I'm pointing out that these women are not making any sense at all? There's nothing to be founded from anything that they're saying. There's nothing. I mean, come on.
We find out because Mary was visiting frequently, my parents, when he was here. And, you know, she witnessed things that, you know, every day he was just trying to get money out of my dad. They were fighting. He was physically fighting with him.
That doesn't surprise
trying
me.
to get
I believe that.
him to give him the house, told him he deserved it. You know, and then
No reason to doubt
Candace
that
did
either.
put on her Facebook, we're selling the house.
Okay,
And so I think it was kind of this quick decision.
So you're about to tell us how this pertains to Summer's disappearance. Just waiting.
No, we're going, like, he already had it in his mind that that's what we're doing. And I just feel like they were fleeing from something, because that's what he does. And he knew that my dad was sick, and I think he thought he was going to come and take over until he died. Maybe. I just feel like he was either trying to get money out of him or trying to hide.
Run.
Mary, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, it's the
So let
same
me-
thing, because I was over
How does
there.
that make sense? So let's dive deep into that real quick. So either he moved to Utah, and it was either because he was trying to get money out of his dad and get the house that he was entitled to, or he was trying to hide. Okay, so why homeowners on paper don't hide very well, just so you know, because at some point that house has to be put in his name legally. Okay, and if you're trying to hide, having a house in your name and living in it or renting it out, whatever the fuck you do with that house, if the deed is in your name, it's not a very good start in hiding, people. Just so you know, if you're trying to run from the law and hide from the law, don't go and get a house put in your name. Just so you know, don't own property.
There visiting, I would go over there almost every day, Chris, when Donnie was down here. And it was an everyday ongoing thing. Even my husband had to go into my mom and dad's bedroom, because we had went over there one night and Donnie was in my dad's bedroom screaming and yelling and arguing with my dad. And
Okay.
my husband had to go in there and tell Donnie to get the hell out of the house, that you shouldn't be arguing with your dad like this. I mean, you know, in his condition, you know, it was terrible. And even for my husband to have to step in, but my husband wasn't going to put up with that. He was ready to take Donnie down a few times, because he was in arguing with my dad, telling my dad, well, you owe me. You need to give me this house. You need to give me money.
Yeah,
It was
sounds like
always
somebody's
about
trying
the
to hide.
house or money.
Sounds
That's
like he's
all
trying to
Donnie
hide
was
right there. Right.
interested in.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And
Well,
by the way, by the way, your husband's married way up, you know, for the record.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Gina?
Like, this guy was a professional investigator.
No, I was just going to
It's
say
blowing
that
my mind.
Donnie's always been like that. If he wanted something, he deserved it. I mean, he could go wreck a car and, you know, the next morning he'd say, Dad, you need to give me a new one. It was just, and it was a matter of fact, you know, that's the way it is.
Yeah, and let's remind our viewers, for the record, this is your stepfather. This is not your biological father. This is
No.
Donnie. This is Donnie's biological father, right? And one of those letters said Don, right? Signed Don.
See, now if I was a
Did
defense
that
attorney,
strike you as odd?
if I was a defense attorney, I would have a ball with that shit. I would have a ball with that shit. I would tear that woman to shreds on the stand if I was a defense attorney. Now, I this is the reason why I don't particularly like defense attorneys, but if I were a defense attorney, I would tear her apart with that shit right there. I'd be like, well, isn't it fair to say that maybe you were jealous of the favor that he got over you because he was the biological father of him, but not you? Wouldn't you say that there's some sort of animosity there? Isn't that fair to assume? Right? I mean, I would do everything that I could to discredit this person on the stand in front of a jury. None of this shit would ever hold up in court if Don was ever charged with Summer's disappearance. None of this shit would ever hold up in court. Like I'm not a defense attorney and I could tear this woman apart on the stand. Imagine what a public defender could do, much less somebody who he was able to hire with money.
Oh yeah, that on the one letter where he signed a poem by Donnie Wells, I've never seen him refer to himself as Donnie on any, you know, and then he signs everything either Don or Donald or
Yeah, it's
Well,
not
why
Donnie.
the fuck
Donnie
would he
don't
sign
refer
something with a
himself as
nickname?
Donnie.
Who signs?
yeah. I mean, Candace calls him
Well, how about-
Donnie, but
Who signs
How
with their
about Summer's
nickname?
dad?
It's not legally
yeah,
binding.
and too
Yeah.
was really strange to me. Seems a little disconnected in my opinion.
Oh my
But-
god, man.
Do you think he wrote it? Or I mean, no, you don't know, but from what you know about him, do you think he's the author?
Well, some of it, I think maybe he had a part in it,
Mhm.
you know, and he probably had some say as to, I want to put this or that in there, and
So
I'm
he-
not really sure. It seems
Go ahead.
kind of weird.
It seems like to me that somebody was either talking to him on the phone and writing stuff down or talking to him in person.
But you know, I
and
mean,
writing
so
it down
so he didn't write
and
it.
then adding what they wanted to add, because some of it a little bit sounds like Donnie, but then the other it's like, no, dude, Donnie wouldn't say that. No.
So he didn't write it. Okay, Donnie wouldn't say that. So he didn't write it, but at the same time, you can pick apart things of that nature, that things of the letter that make you think that he had something to do with Summer's disappearance. So which one is it, lady? Sorry, which one is it? So either he wrote the letter or he didn't. And if he did write the letter, or if he didn't write the letter, how can you sit here and say that there are things about the letter that tell you that he knows what happened to Summer?
So
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. And so let's keep moving here for the idea that you guys were talking to me about. You know, he fired this Dudley guy, right? And the question was, you know, why would he do that so near up to Summer's disappearance? And you know, he claimed obviously that guy was on methamphetamine, and since that time, you know, he's come forward, and you know, he's talked to a lot of different people, as well as he also said that, well, he's really not a good employee, you know, for Donnie, right?
The fuck does that have to
And
do with Summer?
What say you? What are your thoughts? I mean, you guys had some thoughts on that.
What say you about about
Well,
John
my
Wells
thought,
being a good
and it
employee?
goes
Because
along with
he
you know,
worked
our
for you, didn't
theory
he?
about
Oh, he didn't work for you?
what could have happened.
Oh, but what do you think about him being an employee anyway?
I think that he fired Dudley because there was a plan and he was going to be in the way.
Yeah.
You know, he was going to be in and out all day, maybe not working that day. That's my feeling, that he
Right,
fired
Tim?
Dudley just to get him out of the way.
Why?
He
Does
didn't
that
want him
statement
around
fit the way he talks?
just in
What
case
say
he
you?
got in the way or
What
something.
say you?
Yeah.
So, so
Fuck
you
this
think
guy.
that Dudley would have been a patsy for Donnie? That he would have been an easy one to call a suspect?
Oh, suspect.
Oh yeah, that too. You know, if he gets rid of him, and then, you know, that sets it up for disgruntled employee type of thing.
Dude, we
I
watched.
feel like.
Okay, yeah. Let's
Interesting.
So,
give Dudley some credit here, right? Let's give Dudley some credibility. Okay, first of all, who the fuck? I no offense to anybody named Dudley, but right off the bat, if you come at me and you say, "Hey, my name's Dudley," already, I'm like, it's just because I'm a fucking asshole. That has nothing to do with anything. I'm just a dick. Because like, when I hear the name Dudley, it's just hard to take seriously, especially a grown ass fucking man, you know, Dudley. And we saw Dudley, okay? We saw Dudley get interviewed by the three stooges of YouTube, JLR, MGL, and BHB, and they paid his ass for the interview, and he didn't make any sense during that interview at all. They sat there, they got the fucking dude drunk, and they fed him fucking cheese fries and mozzarella sticks, and nothing of substance came out of that dude's fucking face. The only thing that was in this dude's mouth of any substance were mozzarella sticks. That's it. That's it. Nothing. Right? But now all of a sudden, this guy has all the credibility in the world because, you know, he calls Don Wells an insubordinate employee. He's not a very good employee. Fucking people.
Interesting. Way in his thought processes, in Donnie's thought process, the way he operates. In the past, Mary, share the story and about how when he was pretty high.
I feel like this dickhead was growing up. I feel like this dickhead was growing up like doing Sean Connery impressions in the mirror, and then like his little sibling came up and smacked him on the back, and then it got stuck, and then he's just stuck doing this horrible Sean Connery impression the rest of his fucking life. Like they just came up. You remember that movie One Crazy Summer where they were like, and if you keep doing that, your face is going to get stuck. If somebody smacks you on the back, your face is going to get stuck. And then that happened, and they're just walking around looking like this all the time. That's what happened to Chris McDonough. He was doing a Sean Connery impression in the mirror, a bad one as a kid, and then like his little sibling was like, smacked him in the back, and he was just stuck. He was like, "Mom, look what little Timmy did to me. Oh my God. Am I going to be like this forever, Mom? Or I think I'll be a cop."
The babies. There was a lot of, you know, speculation, rumors, and stuff about how, you know, he stood on the corner with the kids, but that's a true story, isn't it?
Yeah.
100% true. I was there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Share your experience. What did you see and what happened?
Yeah. Well, you know, I had heard that he actually tried selling both the kids, and but the one
she heard, by the
really
way, she
stuck
just
out
heard
in
it.
my mind of little Donnie.
She
when he
heard
was
it.
about 2
She
years
doesn't
old,
know this for a fact, but she heard it.
because I was there that night with Jeannie too, and I just remember his ex-wife coming in the door with little Donnie and Margie, you know, and she was crying up a storm, and you know, it was like 11, 12 o'clock at night, and she said she
Wait a
had just
second.
had to pick Donnie.
I resent that, Kate, for big little voices. I resent that statement because what the fuck is study hall? I've never heard of it. Oh my God.
Little Donnie up because Donnie took him to go sell drugs on 25th Street, and that's where she found him. And she was all upset, you know. And so, you know, it's like, it's, in my opinion, Donnie don't care what he's selling to get rid of, to get money for drugs, especially when he's doing drugs and he's out of money. You know, that's his MO. It's been his MO. Even Dudley said he sold Tucker's tools for drugs.
You mean his
You
motor
know, and
shop
he don't care
around
if it's a tool or if it's a kid. He don't care.
Really? Because he's
That's
sold kids
my
before,
opinion.
right?
Jeannie,
Okay.
what say you?
Stop saying what
I
say
feel
you,
the
man.
exact same way.
Please stop saying that, dude.
He
I can't take. I mean, I already don't take
I
you
just
seriously,
can't
but it's
even-
not helping when you say what
It would
say
take-
you.
a long time to even talk about everything that, you know, just throughout the years. And that's when we, you know, before. But I wouldn't put it past him. And he did try to sell little Donnie. I was there that day. I mean, that's what Pam
that's
said.
not speculation. That's fact.
Mhm.
And I mean that happened. It actually happened.
Yeah.
And he was high as a kite. What he was into cocaine at that time, if I remember right.
He was into shooting up really bad. He had so many tracks all over his arms and his legs. It wasn't even funny.
For real,
Yeah.
Tim Tarman.
Yeah.
Like, who the
So
fuck
he was
talks like that?
they call that mainlining.
Yeah.
God.
You know, that's the street term for it.
Is
So
that
he
the
was
street
mainlining
term for
coke,
it?
or what was he shooting? And that's Buddy says hi, by the way.
Gosh, you know.
And
Yeah, you know, I don't know what he was shooting up. I just know it was some kind of drugs, you know. I know he was doing a lot of cocaine because him and Pam came to my house one night. Oh God, Chris, I was so pissed off. Oh man. Okay, so they come in with the kids,
They
probably 7, 8 o'clock at
They
night.
call it
She sits down.
schmack
Donnie
on the
goes
street.
straight to my bathroom.
The street name for it is
We're sitting there and
schmack.
we're talking, and God, like 30 minutes had gone by and he was still in the bathroom.
They call it
And I looked
candy.
at Pam and
On
I'm
the
like,
street,
what?
they call
What's
it
going on? Is he
candy.
okay? What's he doing? And she goes, oh, he's in there shooting up. And I was like, what? What? I literally freaked out. And I'm like, no, 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 no. That can't happen in my house. So I went and I started banging on the door. And I'm like, Donnie, get out of there, you know? Well, he never came out. And
I
she
know.
looks
I
at me,
love it,
Pam
Gina
looks
F.
at me, and she goes, well, he's getting sick. And I said, what? She goes, well, when he shoots up, he gets sick. He'll probably be in there for like another 20 minutes. And I was just like, oh my God. So there really wasn't much I could do because the door was locked and I couldn't get in. And about 20 minutes later, he comes walking out and I looked at him and I said, you get the hell out of my house right now. You are not doing that crap, not around my kids. It ain't happening. Get out and don't ever come back.
wow.
Yep.
Well, but the sad irony to that, right, is it's unfortunate in the drug culture that folks get to the point where, you know, they're stealing and robbing and doing so many different things just to chase. They call that chasing the needle.
Yeah.
And, you know, because
I
it
can't
depends
with
on
this
what kind of
fucking
drugs,
guy.
right? I mean, if it was, you know,
He's
probably
like-
back in the day, it could have been heroin or coke or whatever, but it's a 4 to 6 hour.
He's like, it reminds me of that fucking square ass dude that shows up to your classroom to talk to you about drugs.
They call that chasing the needle.
I can't
6
with
hour,
this guy, dude.
you know, transition every 4 to 6 hours, there has to be a fix because of, you know, depends on the tolerance of the individual, but, and that can go as low as, you know, 2 hours, every 2 hours.
Every 2
So
hours.
they're chasing that needle
Yeah.
to support that habit. And
I cannot
and
take this guy
unfortunately,
seriously, dude.
it just kind of, like you're talking about, it just gets out of control. And and the people around him are. It's like a bull in a china shop. They take advantage of family members, friends, neighbors.
It's like a bowl in a
They
china
steal
shop.
you. They rob you blind, just to kind of make sure. And it's a survival mechanism for them. And I can tell you, I've being on the street, all those years, that there's some craziness that goes on, and what you're talking about, just in the other dimension of his
Oh God.
his SA deviancy, that that's just another level.
None of this shit has to
He
do
was
with
at
Summer,
another level.
man. None
And
of it
that
does.
started at a very young age for him, at a very young age. And we're not going to go down that lane tonight, but I think that's important for people to know what's going on.
What is going
in
on,
his
man?
mind.
What the
And
fuck
so
are you
every
talking
time he
about?
went to jail, he would turn kind of this religious light on, right?
Yeah.
I mean, listening to him, put the Lord's prayers and these letters and stuff. Is that anything new?
No.
Help us understand that behavior from him. Jeannie, we'll start with
It's
you.
called
What do you
faith,
think?
asshole. What are you trying to insult anybody
Well, it was
here
just
who,
every time he would
who believes in
time
God?
he would get in jail or prison, and he'd have phone calls with my dad, and he would say, I'm going to church, I'm gonna be better. But honestly, after he got out, every time, I don't think there was one time that he even continued saying
No,
he was
okay, and let me
even,
be clear about
gonna
something. My
continue.
personal opinion, okay, this is just my personal opinion. Do I think that Don Wells uses religion to somehow excuse and justify his own shitty behavior in his own mind? Yes, I think he's one of those people. Personally, I think he's one of those people. Still, I need evidence that would dictate to me that he had something to do with Summer's disappearance. I need evidence. This is not evidence. This is exactly what the TBI was saying is the problem. And this dude has a shit ton of followers. And his shit is looked at as gospel by his followers because he has had a badge at one point. So because he once had a badge, then everybody looks at him like, oh, he must know what he's talking about. He does. He does know what he's doing. I'm not saying that this guy is stupid. I'm saying he's the worst of the worst because he knows exactly what he's doing. He is absolutely using his former law enforcement status to exploit Summer's name for his financial benefit. I am absolutely, totally pointing my finger at this asshole and accusing him of that. I'm not even trying to sugarcoat it. Fuck this guy. Like, fuck this guy. He is absolutely, I'm going to say it one more time, and I'm going to say it a bunch more times later, by the way, because I've said it before too. This asshole is using his former law enforcement status as a means to exploit Summer Wells' name for financial gain.
Continue with it or anything. Not that I recall.
No, he never did go to church or anything after he got out of prison or jail.
Unless they were just trying to get like help from the church, then. But Donnie never went. Pam would go.
Yeah.
But I don't even recall him even going to church.
Yeah.
Wow. So the Subaru. Let's talk about that red Subaru for a moment, shall we? Donnie says he took the Subaru to work that day. Okay. And that could be factual, right? But I want to ask you guys, he claimed in my conversation that, you know, he was making the payment, so why not drive it that day? Okay. So I want to ask you guys, what do you think? And there's no right or wrong answer, but the way he thinks,
Yeah.
what do you think?
Well, two things.
See,
One,
I love shit like this, right? These little details, right? Okay. You know, why didn't he take the Subaru, right? There's an infinite amount of reasons why a married couple would decide one morning who's taking what vehicle for whatever reason. There's an infinite amount of possibilities as to why any couple in the morning would go, okay, well, I have to do this and this and this. It's probably easier if you take the truck today and I take the Subaru. Right? I mean, how many married people here have multiple cars where you guys share your vehicles and then make some sort of decision as to the practicality as to how your vehicles might serve you and serve each other and serve your family as a whole for practical reasons, why you would like decide to which car to take that day. I mean, how many of you have thought about it, right? Where you actually fight with your spouse, like, dude, I need that car today. Well, I need it for this. Well, blah, 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 blah. And then you come to some sort of agreement. I mean, this is a normal thing as far as I'm concerned. So why is that even a question right now? Why is that even remotely relevant as to who took what vehicle that day? Ridiculous.
one, in one of his YouTubes or whatever, I seen somebody had asked the question about why he took the car that day. And he said, oh, I've been taking that for a couple weeks and this and that. But then Dudley said that on the 14th, that was the first day he'd ever drove the Subaru. And Dudley had worked with him for 2 months.
You just said that
and in my opinion, he took the Subaru because
all of these people just sat here and went on a whole rant as to how fucked up Don Wells is in the head
because you know he mainlines and he's chasing the needle.
Well, because I mean, so you're gonna tell me that now he's supposed to have a fucking memory like an elephant? So either he's supposed to have a memory like an elephant, or he's not credible because he's such a drug addict. Like, make up your fucking mind. Make up your mind.
because he wasn't really going to, these next couple of days, I think he had this plan and he wasn't going to be working much. And that's another reason why he wanted to get rid of Dudley, because he was going to be in and out. He didn't want him calling his boss. And obviously, we've heard, the Subaru had AC. It's easier and quicker to drive a car than a truck. Truck, and
not only that, wasn't the truck plates and stuff up? I think maybe that might have been another reason too, but I don't know. Maybe that was further on down the road.
What theory are they riding on right now? Like, okay, did he kill her and dispose of her body? Is that what they're saying? Because if so, then a truck would probably be more practical in that sense. Now, if he sold her, because they're painting that little picture too, that they sold her to a trafficking ring, right? Or whatever. I mean, what fucking difference does it make what vehicle he took? He could have put her in the front seat of the truck. Could have put her in the fucking front seat or the back seat of the Subaru. He could have put her anywhere, just put a seatbelt on her and took her wherever the fuck he was going to go. The fuck difference does it make what vehicle he took? Where are you getting at, Mr. Super Investigator? What are you getting at here?
Down the road, I don't know.
I mean, I know they were expired when he had went into court because people mentioned it, but that was obviously months later.
Right.
But
Oh,
either way, he still drove it expired. So honestly, I feel like that is the reasoning. I just feel like he thought, well, I'm not going to be working much because, we have this plan
yeah.
and I'm going to need to be in and out. I might need to leave fast. And
And do you think he took it for an alibi?
He's totally worse than JLR, because everybody already looks at JLR. I mean, he's an ex-con. Nobody takes JLR seriously. Nobody with a fucking brain takes JLR seriously, you know? But the problem with this guy is that he has credibility as an ex-law enforcement officer. So that's a problem. That's what makes what he's doing that much more dangerous. And he claims that he was working close with the TBI. The TBI denies this. As far as I know, the TBI has absolutely denied this.
Alibi?
I don't think that. I just think it just happened to be like, well, I'm going to take it to, it's kind of like when, usually if you have a is the reasoning. I just feel like he thought, well, I'm not going to be working much because, we have this plan.
Yeah.
And I'm going to need to be in and out. I might need to leave fast. And
do you think he took it for an alibi?
An alibi for what? What are you talking about?
I don't think that.
What does that mean?
I just think it just happened to be like, well, I'm going to take it to, it's kind of like when, usually if you have a nice car and then you have like, the beater truck or whatever, who usually gets the nice car? The wife. The husband usually takes the crappy vehicle to work.
Depends on the relationship.
And then on the weekends and stuff, if you go out to a movie, you take the nice vehicle. So in my opinion, I just thought, well, he's just like, well, I'm not really going to be working. And because I think he had other things going on.
Don't you think that an experienced law enforcement investigator listening to this at some point would stop it? Like politely, but in his head realize, okay, wait a minute. These women are sitting here sounding like they're credible with washed up, crazy, like wishy-washy theories, not washed up, but wishy-washy theories, right? And this makes my channel look bad. This makes my reputation as a former investigator look bad. So I'm going to real easily just kind of drift away from this and then end this and then pick up the slack here and kind of dig myself out of the hole that these women have just put me in. But he's not doing that. He's just letting him run. He's just like, it's like he it's like he has like an antique shop, and then he has like 2 3-year-old kids, and he's like, hey guys, here, you each get a sledgehammer. Now have fun. Have a blast. That's totally what it seems like I'm looking at here. This is my antique shop. Okay, but here's sledgehammers and just go nuts. Have fun, kids.
He needed, he had his plan, and but I don't think he took it really for any other reason other than just it was. Yeah,
I understand.
Oh, yeah, I understand
So
too.
No,
Nobody understands. The fuck are you talking about?
And you girls, you know him best, and unfortunately, you know the evil side, and so you know how that side thinks and how it operates.
Yeah.
And it was enough to cause you to, obviously to action very early on, and I, again, this is
Cherry, stop it.
I'm not going to overstate it, but I am just so I admire both of you for your for your courage, because
Wow.
this wasn't easy
Yeah, it was.
in any way, shape, or form. I mean,
Really?
you've held on for 35 years, and I know you're both 21, so I want to be careful here with my Karen sitting over my shoulder. You know, she'll poke me on the side.
He has a
Don't you dare ask a woman her age, and I'm
he
not
has
going.
he has a Karen sitting over his shoulder. That Karen should be Karening more. she needs to Karen more.
to. But that said, you had so much courage to come forward, and you know, it's amazing. And at the same time, you guys started connecting these dots pretty quickly. And now over time,
Now,
we're
why
into
would
this a
he?
year. Poor Summer
That's
is
another
still.
detail that bothers me. So everybody is saying, and I missed that clip, but you know, apparently he admitted to essaying one of these women, you know, at a young age. Okay, that makes him a piece of shit, totally. But here's my thing, though: why would he admit to that? If he's so guilty and he did something to Summer, why would he admit to something that disgusting? If he is such a manipulative, you know, bad dude, I mean, it'd be so easy to just be like, your word against mine. There's no way they could collect DNA evidence to prove their allegations at this point, right? Why would he admit to it? It doesn't make sense. Other than he's just trying to get right with God, right? You know, like, why would somebody admit to something that disgusting and heinous and yet be absolutely adamant about Summer? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up.
Still out there somewhere.
Yeah.
And you guys are seeing now these letters and other things, and you've correlated it to his past behaviors. And the Subaru thing is really interesting because, you know, he says that, you know, well, the reason I'm taking that Subaru is because I make the payment and why not drive it? Okay? But, you know, to your point, it's like, well, wait a minute. If he's out a lot and he's got a plan and he's not, you know, he's not planning on not working much that day, why not take the Subaru? And your thinking is, and correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm going down the wrong path with what you guys are thinking here, is there's a debt here somewhere, potentially.
God, come on, man.
Yeah.
What do you tie that debt to yet? Not getting ahead of you, but where do you think that correlates in this?
Well, it's because he's chasing the needle.
I feel like it's some kind of drug debt.
Oh, you think?
Okay.
See, and
Like
that's
he's
what I think, too.
absolutely
And
he's
you know, when
absolutely
this all first
leading these
happened,
women.
I was at my mom and dad's, and I
He's
asked my dad, I
clearly
said,
leading
"Well,
them.
what do you think happened?" And he goes, "I think Donnie got messed up with the bad guys. I think he got messed up with drugs, and I think he owes them money." That's my dad's exact words.
So your father thinks it's connected.
Yeah, and not only, even my brother. I asked him, you know, and he's been following the case a little bit here and there, you know, not a lot, but I said, "What do you think? What do you think?" Because he knows Donnie really good too. He grew up with him too, and he said, "I think he sold her." He's like, "You know, you got to figure that's what Donnie does when he needs drugs.
He just sells
He
little
sells
girls.
things, even his own kids."
Really? He's sold his kids before.
Wow.
That's Donnie's
Really?
MO to
That's
a
his
T.
MO, selling
It
kids.
has been all his
Got it.
life. And then when I heard Dudley saying that he was selling Tucker's tools and stuff,
Let me
it's like,
level with you guys.
he hasn't changed, not
Okay.
one freaking bit.
Let me level with you guys. Okay? I'm gonna get totally like truth in the sense of truth, absolutely naked here. Okay. I have had drug problems in the past. I have sold things for drugs. I've stolen things and sold them for drugs years and years ago. Never once did it ever cross my mind to steal a child and sell that child for drugs. Never once have I ever even considered selling my child for anything or using my child for anything. Never once. And I've made mistakes as a parent. I've made a lot of mistakes as a parent. Never has that ever crossed my mind. Not once. What the fuck are these people talking about? That's the most insane shit I've ever heard. Like, you need to have undeniable proof to make that accusation about somebody, about another human being. That is the sickest fucking thing that you can accuse somebody of, besides actual essay. Like, in some ways, that's worse. Depending on who you are, depending on what your opinions are, it's arguably worse. Who the fuck sells their kid? Now, I'm not saying it's never happened, but I'm saying for something like that, for that kind of accusation, you need to have proof. And I know what some of you are thinking. Some of you guys are going this route. Some of you guys are going to think, well, Glairer, you know, you were quick to accuse Kelly Long of trafficking her kid. No, I was quick to believe a child that accused her mother of trafficking her. There's a big, big difference. I never accused her of anything. I accused her of being a fucking liar because I proved it by showing her deposition and going over it in detail. But I never accused her of anything. All I did was back up a kid who seemed to have nobody backing her up. That's all I did. And I would do it again. I would do it tomorrow. I do it right now. I will never, ever stop defending Sophie, ever. Because it was her who made the accusation. Because I heard her on video making this accusation. A 9-year-old kid, I heard her accusing her own mother of horrible things and being terrified of the environment that that woman provided for her child. So I would never, ever do anything different. I would never do anything different. But what they're doing right here is just throwing wild accusations out about somebody. Crazy, fucked up accusations that are totally unfounded. She's sitting here saying, well, that's what Donnie does. He sells things. So he must have sold his kid. What? I've sold a VCR. I've sold a stereo. I've sold a TV. I've sold fucking Sega Genesis. That's how long ago it was, by the way. I've sold a lot of things. And it totally went up my nose because I lived in Miami and I was a teenager. But never, ever did the thought come to my mind that I could sell a kid to support my drug habit. Never. And here's another thing. It never occurred to me to work at that time either. Just so you know. Don Wells, if we're going to even entertain these type of accusations, and that's fine. We can entertain those type of accusations. But as you're entertaining these accusations, keep in mind that Don Wells also learned a trade, and he kept employment under that trade. He did drywall consistently. Okay. This is a guy who got up every single morning, went to work, did manual labor, came home, had a car, had a work truck and a car for his family, but he's going to sell his kid? Don't you think before he would do that, he would sell his car first, maybe? Just say, hey, here's a car for a couple bags. You don't think a person that desperate would run out of material things first before he resorted to selling his child? You think that those material things meant more to him than his child? Really? That's your argument? It doesn't add up. Sorry. That shit just doesn't play. It doesn't play. You know? I mean, I've done my share of drugs, and I've known my share of druggies. I've known my share of druggies that were way worse off than I was, and that have done horrible, fucked up things, who are dead now because of overdosing. They're dead. Fucking gone. Like, and they were so bad on drugs that I didn't even cry when they died. And I fucking felt bad because I was like, why am I not shedding a tear for this person? It's because in the back of my mind, I saw this coming years ago. I was like, I kind of in my head already dismissed them for dead. I saw this coming. I knew they were going to do this. I knew this was going to be their fate. But I can guarantee you that my friend Steve, okay, Stephen Madison Lovett, who is now deceased, would have never sold his own child for drugs. And I've seen him do horrible, horrible things for drugs. And now he's gone and he's dead. But that dude would have never, ever, it would have never crossed his mind to sell his own child. This is a fucked up accusation that these people are making without any proof. Like, you better have proof to accuse somebody of something that disgusting.
You know, that's just my opinion, though.
Interesting. So let's talk about Grandis here, Grandma. I want to call her Grandma. How does she fit into this, from your opinion? So, I mean, she's either a witness or she needs an alibi, right? And Candace tells us that her phone wasn't working, so she grabbed Grandma's phone to make the phone call. But you guys made a really astute observation. Tell everybody what you guys were thinking.
Go
Remember
ahead, Jean.
Okay, well, for one thing, okay, so I feel like that this was planned. Donnie and Candace planned it out. And I think that they were using Grandma in different ways. But one of the ways, as far as the phone, okay, so, you know, Hunter talks about when they go to the swimming hole, they had got minutes for the phone. Okay, so
that means it's a burner phone. It's a track phone.
yes. Okay, it's a burner phone.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It depends on the service
like
you have.
Under the whole scheme of things, you know, Donnie's mastermind thinking he's making this great.
Dude, you can take any phone. You can take any phone as long as it's not flagged as stolen. You can go to any service and you can get the cheapest service where you can buy minutes on that phone. It doesn't necessarily have to be a burner phone for you to have a service that requires for you to just fill up your minutes. Okay? So that's bullshit.
Great plan. Well, let's see if your mom will tell her you need pain pills. You know, we've heard people that know them say that they do pills and they do, and obviously, you know, drinking and everything. But I
None
feel
of these
like
people
grandma
live
was
there.
inserted for the use of her phone. And then I feel like other questions might be,
Dude, listen, man. I don't see, as far as everything that I'm hearing from these people right now, I don't see them being any different than Andrew, than Jose, any relevance any more than any of those people. They saw how there's these people that happen to be somehow in some 6 degrees of separation some level of 6 degrees of separation somehow involved with the wells, and saw how much publicity they were getting, and then they decided to just jump on YouTube. This Andrew asshole started a channel. I don't give a fuck about anything that guy says, because he happens to be fucking hunters, and that's this asshole's fault, by the way. The only reason that we're even having to listen to this Andrew asshole's bullshit is because this asshole put his son on blast, put his 15-year-old kid on blast on YouTube. That's the only reason we're hearing from Andrew. So that's another aspect as to how this asshole has muddied the waters and made TBI's investigation that much more difficult. He's responsible. Chris McDonough is absolutely fucking responsible for Andrew's bullshit, for Hunter's bullshit, for fucking anybody who decided to come out of the woodwork and decided to insert themselves in this shit is because of him. This guy should be arrested for obstructing an investigation. In my personal opinion, if we're going to just throw accusations at people, that accusation, out of all the accusations, has the most evidence. It's all on video. It's all on YouTube. All you got to do is fucking pull it up. So if I were the TBI and Sheriff Lawson from the Hawkins County Sheriff's Department, I'd be targeting this asshole, since they have no clues and they're blaming YouTubers for not having an investigation, for not having any clues, because of all the fucked up, crazy rumors that are flying around, flooding their phone lines and using up resources that are there to find Summer. Well, then this guy is at fault. He's the worst of the offenders. This guy should have charges brought up on him. If they never find Summer, this guy should be fucking charged for obstructing an investigation. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Fuck this guy.
okay, how long did she have that phone? I know a lot of people that get those phones with minutes, because like my mom used to have one, and when she'd run out of minutes, sometimes the phone would just sit in the drawer for months. Okay. Did grandma already have that phone? Did Candace buy it that day? Maybe she said, well, hey, you know, you get me pills and I'll put minutes on your phone, because they're sitting down at the water hole. And, you know, Hunter said that she was loading minutes on her phone. And then she uses the phone to call 911. She claims that there's problems with signals up there, but
There are.
she also said she was talking to Donnie on her phone, and immediately.
Okay, let me shut you down right the fuck there, because I heard in a press conference, the very first press conference held by Hawkins County Sheriff's Department regarding Summer's disappearance, the very first one, saying that it's going to be difficult for their search because cell phone coverage, cell phone service is very, very bad. On top of the fact that even radio signal service is bad, like CB radio, walkie-talkies, that sort of thing is bad because of the mountains and because of the terrain there. They said it, not just grandma. So what the fuck are you talking about? You don't know what you're talking about, lady. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about when it comes to Summer's disappearance. You have nothing to contribute.
Through that phone and went and got grandma's phone. Well, if you already got connection, if you're worried about connection,
Christ.
why not just hang up? I feel like
I wish I wasn't getting
there
so
was
mad.
possibly
I'm really
some
getting mad.
communication going on with another person on the burner phone. And Candace had it in her
Right,
possession
Heels.
because she was texting or communicating with this other person. And that's why she used
That's what pisses me off.
grandma's phone to
Heels
call
is
911.
Heels is reading my mind right now. Her sarcastic comment right now saying, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, but she's a victim, dude." Yeah. That's the smoke and mirrors right there. The fact that she is claiming to be a victim of SA because she's a victim of SA, right? That's the smoke and mirrors where you're supposed to take everything that she says is fucking gospel in this case because Chris McDonough, who used to have a badge, is giving her a mic and saying that she's credible. That's incredibly dangerous. And it's disgusting. It's disgusting to SA survivors. It's disgusting to missing kids everywhere and families of those missing kids. This is a fucking circus. And it's his fault. He is the main problem as to why the Summer Wells case has become a fucking circus.
And then I feel like she emphasizes, and nobody has asked or anything, but she seems to offer this information and push. I hung up with Donnie, threw his phone in the truck, went and got mom's phone.
Yeah.
It's like she has to prove why she used grandma's phone.
Right.
You know, I'm thinking maybe Donnie's thinking later, why'd you call on that phone? Now we're going to get in trouble. So now she has to create this reason why she used it. And then also the other reason could be if she's on the phone with Donnie and he says, call 911, but you stay on the phone because I want to hear what you say, you know, so I can tell you in your ear, don't say that. Or that's my feeling, that that phone was used for a reason and it wasn't because of the signal.
Right.
Mary, thoughts?
Yeah. See, that's what I think too. And I was also asking Jeannie, I said, well, I wonder if they just picked up minutes for that phone or did they buy a new phone? Because see, I used to buy minutes for my phone. I used to have them.
Oh, well, shit, it must be a burner phone.
And it was easier for me.
You must have orchestrated a kidnapping then, since you used a phone and used to buy minutes for your phone. You must have orchestrated a kidnapping. You must have sold a child to a trafficking ring. Because why else would you have a phone where you have to buy minutes? That's awfully suspicious. Or maybe you're just fucking poor, just like the Wellses are. Maybe. Fucking asshole.
Actually, it was even cheaper. It was cheaper for me to just go buy a new phone because I could get a new phone for $30 and it'd have 300 minutes on it. And in the other sense, if I was to go buy minutes, it'd be the cheapest one was like $50. So it was cheaper for me to just go buy a new phone every time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I was asking Jeannie, well, I wonder if they just bought a new phone that day or just minutes.
Oh, well, I guess that must have
You
made
know,
them
and that would
guilty
be
of a
an
crime.
excuse if she told grandma, hey, let's go, you know, I need some meds. Let's go to the emergency room and pretend your knee hurts. I'm not saying her knee didn't hurt. I don't know. I'm just saying that could be, you know, a motive. And if you do it,
I'm not saying her knee didn't hurt. I would hate to accuse her of lying about her knee, but she definitely had something to do with Summer's disappearance. Okay. Good to know.
get you a phone. And Candace wanted to use that phone for a reason. And also, I believe that, you know, if what Hunter says is true about when he looked on her phone and the deleted messages said it's done, I just feel like that was a mistake. I feel like that was meant to go to the burner phone. And I feel like that's why all the messages from 3 o'clock on, how Donnie says, it's so weird. We got our phones back and everything was deleted from 3 o'clock on. In my mind, it's because Donnie was like, oh no, Candace, you messaged him on your regular phone. You need to go delete it. And we're going to delete everything from 3 on, so that if the cops ask, well, why is everything deleted? We can say, well, I don't know. It's just a glitch, I guess. All the phones were deleted, you know, because I could just see in his mind trying to think of a solution.
Okay, because I don't actually know, because I keep hearing mixed things. Type in the chat, those of you who do know, who heard Don admit to this. How old was he supposedly, allegedly, when this SA took place? How old was Don when this SA allegedly took place? Somebody let me know.
And I don't even know, I don't know how those burner phones work. I don't know if you can trace them, but you know, there's the other possibility of maybe they thought, well,
I got 3 12s in a row. I got 3 12s in a row. I most of everybody's saying 12. One is saying 11, and others are saying she was 5. It's fair to say how old she was too. But 12 years old, okay? 12 years old, it doesn't make, I just don't see somebody at 12 being a predator. Attack me if you want. You know what I mean? That's just my opinion. I don't see someone being 12 years old as a predator. If I had a kid who was 12 and another kid who was 5 living in the same house, I would reprimand the 12-year-old harshly, absolutely, but I would still have the mindset of this kid doesn't know any better and it's up to me to teach this kid better. It's a 12-year-old kid. It's a 12-year-old child. That is okay. I get that Jeannie was 5. I understand that. Okay. And that must have been traumatizing to her. Sure. But this was a 12-year-old boy who God knows what the fuck was going through his head. I mean, in a lot of cases, that's prepubescent. That kid doesn't know what the fuck they're doing with their body. Dude, I didn't even start jerking off till I was 13. You know what I mean? Like, sorry to put it so harshly, but sorry to put it so, I mean, I realize that I have a very crude way of carrying myself. I understand this. A lot of people, it rubs people the wrong way, you know, but I didn't even start jerking off till I was 13. And every male jerks off. I promise you that. Every single male does. If they say they don't, they're a fucking liar. Every adolescent male jerks off. If they say they don't, they are a fucking liar. A lot of times because they're made to be ashamed of it. But 12 years old, that's not a predator. That's somebody with a lack of parenting. That's definitely somebody with a lack of guidance. I'm not going to go so far as to say a victim, but I will say that he's not a predator at 12. No such thing as a 12-year-old sexual predator, dude. There's no such thing. That's crazy. No wonder he admitted to it, because he's probably absolutely ashamed of it. I haven't stopped either, Tim. I haven't stopped either. I'm not going to let you go out all by yourself here in this chat, rude. I'm not going to do that, man. Dude, I was 13 when I started. 13. 12 years old. And I remember my first experience with a girl. I think I was 5 and she was 4. Like, she had a dollhouse up on the hill behind our house. She was a neighbor, and we just kind of played what people referred to as playing doctor, even though we weren't literally playing doctor. But I remember it. We were just curious. Like, ew, look. Ew, ew. You know? I mean, it was totally innocent. Now, I'm not saying at 12 years old, if that had happened, that would be innocent. I would definitely have felt mischievous. But I'm not, 12 years old, you're not a predator, man. You're not. You're discovering your body. You don't know any better. It is a lack of parental guidance that is at fault there. The lack of the talk of birds and the bees. Like, and that's McDonough's fuel against this guy. That's his whole basis of having these women on his panel right now. Is that supposed to be fucking funny? Dude, McDonough, if you're listening to this, you are a piece of shit. You are an absolute piece of shit. Like the worst. Jesus Christ. Somebody should fucking smack you, dude. Nobody go and smack Chris McDonough. I'm just saying. It's just a figure of speech. Don't literally go and fucking find Chris McDonough and smack him. He'll probably shoot you. Like, so don't go fucking with people physically. Just saying, just pissed off, and I feel like the guy deserves to be smacked. Just don't go and fucking do that because it's not worth it.
They're not even going to
responsible YouTubing 101, people. There you go.
ask for her phone. And if they do, then it's more safe because, it's brand new phone. We just bought it. It's basically a throwaway phone. I mean, you see on
whose arrest record?
Crime every day that criminals use those.
Heels, whose arrest record? Are you talking about Don's arrest record? Yeah, I know there's no assault on Don's arrest record. No sexual assault. Yeah, I know that. Yeah. We all know that. I thought for a second you were talking about Chris M. I was like, wait, that dude has an arrest record? But, and it wouldn't surprise me.
Those phones for criminal activity for a reason.
Yeah, and it's never really made sense, right? And a lot of people are pointing it out here as well that, for her to interject that piece of the puzzle about, my phone wasn't working, so I had to go grab my mom's phone.
But it was working when she called Donnie.
Right. And, yeah.
No, I got it, Heels. Thank you. I got it.
And of course, every phone, whether it has minutes on it or not, if you just pick it up and dial 911, you're going to get the nearest dispatcher. It's going to signal you in, cross county lines when it hits a tower, and it's going to send you to the nearest agency. And then they'll transfer you to where potentially you are. But yeah, that is a really great point. And quite frankly, the fact that Hunter does say, the grandmother was sitting in the car, trying to figure out her minutes.
Now, this is going to piss people off, right? But I'm going to make this observation real quick. This is going to make people fucking mad. Sorry if it does, but how is it any different? If you're judging Don Wells on behaving this way at 12 years old, okay? How is that any different than blaming a 12-year-old victim of SA? How is that any different than looking at a 12-year-old victim of SA and saying she wanted it or he wanted it when they were SA'd by a predator? How is that any different? Because the thing that makes them a victim Okay. The thing that makes that 12-year-old a victim is that they don't know any better, and their bodies have not developed yet. Their bodies and minds have not developed yet. So you don't get to do that.
Yeah.
And then to your observation, you know, next thing you know it, Candace is grabbing that phone to call 911.
Mm-hmm.
Really interesting thought process here. Very interesting thought process. And just want to take a quick break here for a second to give you some time to regroup and then simultaneously let everybody know who you are. We have Miss Mary and Miss Jeannie here. Don's victims / survivors today.
All right.
Now,
let me address this.
And
okay.
in my opinion,
that is definitely where it makes it not okay at all. That's definitely where it makes it not okay at all. And I won't make excuses as far as that goes. There's no excuse for that. I could speculate as to how he might have somehow justified it in his mind. But no, I mean, yeah, absolutely. That's definitely not okay. But at the same time, it's like, well, why is this all coming out now? You know what I mean? Like, why is this all coming out now? And how is it connected to Summer Wells? This is why I bring this up. Okay. Again, I'm not making excuses for Don. Like, if he did that, then he's a fucking piece of shit. There's a lot of reasons why I will sit here and say that I think Don Wells is a piece of shit. That being only one of them, if I'm being completely honest. But what are we here for? We're here to talk about Summer Wells. We're here to figure out why this in some way, shape, or form is connected to Summer Wells. Why does he think that these women have some sort of expert opinion as to what may or may not have happened to Summer Wells? Because they clearly don't. They clearly do not. Yes, and super chats is exactly why it's coming out now. Summer deserves the truth. What? What are you talking about? Summer deserves the truth. You think that's healthy for a 6-year-old girl to know about her father right now? You think that that's relevant? Summer deserves the truth? Really? What Summer deserves is to be home. What Summer deserves is to be alive and unharmed. That's what Summer deserves. Okay? Now, I bring this up because there is no connection, at least that can be proven or even remotely proven. There is no connection between Don Wells victimizing one of these or both of these women or 7 others. There is no connection to that and what happened to Summer Wells. There is not. Now, if there were, I would be all over it. I promise you I would. But when I confronted Christopher McDonough on the lab had a call-in show and CM was on that panel. I called and I asked him because I wanted to be very thorough because I didn't want him to weasel out of the question. So I built up to that question. I built up to the very question that I'm asking now. What is the connection? What is your point? Right? Actually, the question was whether or not he was making the case more difficult for the TBI to find Summer, whether he was making it more difficult. So at first I asked him, did you see the TBI's? Did you see the TBI's press conference where they were accusing YouTubers of muddying the waters? Immediately you see him go, because he knew what I was going to ask him. Why did he know what I was going to ask him? Because he knows that I have a point. He knows that I'm right. And then sure enough, he says, yeah, I saw it, all flustered. Yeah, I saw it, blah, blah, blah. Like it doesn't matter, like the people, that are charged with the responsibility of finding Summer and are trained to do so, what they say doesn't matter. That's kind of how he acted like it. Right. And then I asked him finally, I was like, wouldn't you say that you, being a former law enforcement officer, do you think that your badge, having a badge, makes you any different than any of these other YouTubers that the TBI was talking about? Right. And then he got really defensive. And you know what his defense was? Well, didn't you hear Don Wells admit to SAing his stepsister? Okay, what does that have to do with anything? And then what happens? They hang up on me. The host of the lab, whatever the fuck his name is, he hangs up on me, and then he ends the live, and then he puts the live on private, and then he edits the live and cuts that part out so that he could still collect views on that live, because he had the great Chris McDonough on his panel. He can't just end that live and private it. He has to have the views from that. So he edits it and edits that part out where I was on it confronting Chris McDonough. Cowards. Total fucking cowards. Right. It just doesn't apply to him, does it? No. Because he has a badge at one point. Well, it doesn't apply to him. Bullshit. Fuck this guy. He's the worst. He's the worst of the worst of all the people that I've called out about this Summer Wells case, and this case being turned into a fucking circus and this little girl's name being exploited. Out of all the people that I've called out, he's the worst. And I stand by that.
Heroes. And you're empowering thousands of women. And look at JLo says, this is so illuminating and mind-blowing. Jeannie and Mary, you guys are amazing.
And nobody's fucking defending.
I can't.
Let me be clear about something. Nobody's defending Don Wells here. Nobody's defending Don Wells. I'm defending due process. There's a big difference. Okay? I'm defending due process. There's no evidence against Don Wells that he did something to Summer Wells. There's no evidence to dictate that he did. And it's irresponsible. And what it does is it takes away the possibility of focus on the real problem if somebody else is the real problem. If there is another perpetrator out there and Don Wells is innocent, focusing on Don Wells with no evidence takes away resources and eyes off of the real problem. It puts a tunnel vision effect on Don Wells when the real problem could be out there. The real perpetrator could be out there. I'm not saying that they are. And I'm not even saying Don Wells is innocent. I'm saying until you have more evidence, you have to keep an open mind. You cannot focus on one person based on nothing. Because you're costing this little girl her chances of justice. That is what I'm saying. It's all I'm saying. You're costing this little girl her chances of justice by keeping this tunnel vision and putting these blinders on that are focused only on Don. Well, guess what? The real problem could still be out there. I'm not saying that he's innocent. I'm saying be responsible and keep an open mind until you have more information. Wait for more information. That's all I'm saying, man. McDonough knows that everybody is looking at Don Wells, and it's fun. It's that drama that draws people. So he knows he's going to get more views if he targets Don Wells. He knows that. And as a former law enforcement investigator, he should be the one setting the example and saying the shit that I'm saying. I shouldn't be the motherfucker up here saying this. He should. I'm just some asshole, dude. I ran pizza joints my whole fucking life. Why am I the one up here making the most sense when it should be him doing it? That's what I'm pissed about. The fuck is this? The Twilight Zone? He's the cop. He's the one that has experience collecting evidence and presenting it to a fucking district attorney that will present it to a grand jury that will decide whether or not there's a case to bring to trial. He's the one that does that. Why isn't he the one saying the shit that I'm saying right now? Why? Because it's not lucrative enough. It's not lucrative enough. That's why. That's the only reason why. Because he's a fucking grifting, greedy asshole who only gives a shit about money. That's it.
I disagree with any of that. And okay, so let's keep moving here because I love what you're laying out here. And by the way, this is all, just your thought process because you know him best.
Yeah.
The two of you know him best, and others know him best, and I know his sister, his biological sister, went into jail, to kind of bail him out in terms of write a statement about what happened when, quote, he was younger, but what she did is actually dig him a hole, which was perfect.
He did.
And which was great, right? Because that just strengthened everything. And I just, as we used to say, job security, you can't fix stupid.
Yep.
It is what it is, and so that's great. So great points being here. Two, great insight from two wonderful women. Mimi J2 says, okay, so we've got now the phone idea. Okay, so what's the reason he for Don calling?
That's a name. That's a name that I see a lot in different chats. Mimi J2, I see her in all kinds of different chats, and I hate calling her out, man, but that's just that's to me is an example of somebody that I see jumping in and out of chats, and that just wants to be accepted by the creator in that chat. And I don't have patience for that shit. If you don't fucking like what I'm saying, I don't want you here because I don't want anybody in my chat that's not getting anything out of what I'm saying. I actually give a shit about what I'm saying. I actually believe in the things that I'm saying. And I don't want people in here who don't fucking have convictions behind their own beliefs. You can disagree with me. That's fine. You can absolutely disagree with me. But don't come in here and be like, yeah, I love what you're saying. Don't be because I make a comment in somebody else's chat that we're both cool with. And then you're like, yeah, right on, Glairer, and then go and usually I'm speaking against assholes like this. And then you're going to be in their chat and then get a wrench from them. And because you have a wrench in a chat that has a bunch of subs where you get absolutely fucking nothing out of it, because you just want a wrench in a chat and somehow makes you feel somehow significant. I don't have patience for people like that. I just don't have fucking patience for people like that. You're just fucking empty.
Calling. Let me ask you that question. What's the reason for Don calling?
Are you talking about like when Hunter was with them?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, this is absolutely true. Yeah. Cherry and I disagree on everything because she's always wrong. So, you know, but she has a wrench anyway. You know what I mean? Like, she's literally wrong all the time, like all the time. Like, anything that she says in my chat is dead wrong. Like, unless she's agreeing with me, she's wrong. Just so you know.
And this is the reason why I believe Hunter was inserted into the whole scene. He was,
Wait,
you know, because everybody had said I hadn't. Candace said that she hadn't talked to him for a couple of days. Okay, so, and this is the reason why I believe Hunter was inserted into the whole scene.
No. Yeah, sip your water there, buddy. Sip your water there. Hunter was inserted into the whole scene by the person whose channel you're on right now. Make no mistake about that. That man is 100% responsible for Hunter being inserted, quote unquote, into the whole scene. Plain and simple. So let's hear, based on that right there, let's hear where this, because obviously the rest of the statement is built on a foundation of pure bullshit.
He was, you know, because everybody had said Candace said that she hadn't talked to him for a couple months. Hunter even said that, you know, and then Hunter said that she actually messaged him and asked. I think that Hunter was brought along as a witness. Well, for one, I feel like Donnie called, you know, and he says, Candace says everybody, and I think they were making it a point to make sure Hunter knew that there was a pedophile on the property. My opinion, okay, if there's a pedophile around the property for 2 weeks, and that's what they said, he's been lurking around for a couple of weeks. Okay, I know Donnie would have told, if he, you know, was concerned at all about the kids, he would say, you take those boys with you. You don't leave those boys there. So he calls to say, you know, well, there's someone lurking around. And so then Hunter's witness to that. So later when the story comes out, you know, well, there was some strange creeper lurking around, you know, so that inserts the creeper.
Yeah.
And then, also,
so Donnie inserts, Donnie, he inserted this person into the conversation, and Hunter heard it.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Finish your thought. I'm sorry.
Well, and also to Grandma too, because if she was there, I don't know if she was there when Donnie called, but also, I think Hunter said that he kept asking, well, where are you at? When are you coming? Mm-hmm. Okay, well, he's communicating with someone else who is going to, is going to pick up Summer, in my opinion. And they needed to know, it's going to be an hour because, maybe he could go sit up on some off-road close to the house.
What?
And then, I think that's why Donnie kept calling, and Hunter said, well, he kept calling over and over. And it's like, was he nervous? If he was so nervous about the guy lurking around the property, well, he'd already known for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So, and he knew
Hunter's story
Candace
was so inconsistent.
Grandma
It was so inconsistent.
To the hospital first thing in the morning. So why would you just, well, you can just go to the hospital and I'll just call several times a day and ask if you're home yet to check on the boys. Why not just take them with, especially if you have Hunter there to help watch the other kids.
Yeah. Yep.
Interesting. Mary, what do you think?
Yeah, well, it's the same with, what Jeannie said. That's what I think happened. think that she did go pick Hunter up just so he could sit there and hear, what Donnie's saying and stuff. And yeah, I don't know.
And at the same time, I mean, other things be an alibi to, and it's almost like when she was done with him, because she even says in that interview with you, Chris, because you said, okay, well, what'd you do with Hunter after? Well, I took him straight home. I told him, no, he can't come. Like she was done with him at that point.
Yeah.
Well, he served his purpose. No, you can't come back, because we got a plan here and you're not part of the rest of it.
Right. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, because he had to insert, based on what you're saying, he had to put this creepy guy up on the property, right? And
Jerry,
that now
stop
opens the
it.
door for this theory that he brought to the surface immediately, that she was kidnapped. Okay.
Mhm.
And so
real.
we now have Hunter saying, yeah, there was a creepy guy.
Yeah, chasing, just so you know, that was an accident. Heels accidentally timed you out. It was an accident. Sorry. We'll see you in 300 seconds. I wish it could be undone. It can't be. Okay.
Creepy guy on the property, and Donnie saying, yeah, I knew him the moment I heard the phone call from Candace that she was kidnapped. Okay. And so those we would call those control points, i.e. he's controlling the narrative, and it's a power move. Okay.
Wow.
And
God, this is the most
so
irresponsible
he's
shit
maintaining
ever.
the narrative. And that's,
You mean
this
like
is
what
very
you're doing right
interesting,
now?
because now Hunter is now in a position
He's
based on what
maintaining
what
the
you're thinking.
narrative.
And I cannot disagree at this point, listening to you. And this is why I thought it was so intriguing that Hunter is actually being set up as an alibi and a witness for Don. That
You interviewed the kid.
maybe
What the fuck are you
irrefutable,
talking
right?
about?
At this point, in terms of, because I thought Hunter in many ways, when I talked to him, he was a 15-year-old who
Yeah,
was
which
embellishing a
means you
little
should
bit,
have never
but
talked
for
to
the
him.
most part, I thought he was being pretty honest.
Yeah,
in a lot of
He
what
was
he
being pretty
put in.
honest every
Well,
time
and
he
that's how I
contradicted
feel,
himself,
you
and
see all these
I bailed
videos
him
and
out
stuff,
of
and
it.
people are confused, and they're like, everybody's lying in this case. Everybody, even Jose lied, and Hunter lied, and if you use this, this theory, which by the end of this, you guys will know
This guy sucks,
everything.
dude.
But nobody lied. Nobody. Grandma didn't lie. I think Grandma, there's a few things, but we'll talk about in a minute about that.
But Grandma had something to do with the disappearance,
Hunter
didn't
didn't
she?
lie
Right?
at all.
She lied
Jose
about the
wasn't
vehicles,
lying.
didn't
Dudley, they're all telling 100% the truth. And if you put this theory into play, everything just makes sense. It makes so much sense.
Yeah.
As Forrest says, they were staging the scene.
Yeah.
It was a premeditated potential.
I can't stand
something's
this guy,
gonna
dude.
go down here, and in this case, it could have been, some money being owed somewhere, or maybe even the purchase of narcotics was the drive for it. And
The purchase
somehow
of
potentially
narcotics.
could have been
He must have been chasing the needle.
the sale.
Yeah.
Or I don't want to speculate on anything right now, but this theory could support.
He doesn't want to
that
speculate
idea.
on anything, folks.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to keep it on the board as a theory, until the evidence, solidifies itself on there. But it certainly is making, you're making some very interesting points.
No, she's not.
Because he would not talk to me.
She's not
about
making any interesting points at all.
He stayed so far away from that. He wouldn't even tell me how old you were.
Yeah.
When he started to attack you. Okay. And And I know
And
we
you would
talked
expect
offline
him to
behind
do
the
that?
scenes on that. But, you know, I'm going to say it for the record for everybody so that everybody understands. Jeannie was 5
Yeah, we know.
when it started. And a 5-year-old has never
Exactly, dude.
instigates activity like she experienced. And, you know, God bless her for coming forward.
All right.
And
Okay,
she,
fine. Don is a fucking predator. Fine. But don't bring up her being 5 when he was 12. Okay? Bring up her being 12 when he was 19. That's fair. That's fucking fair. Okay? But don't bring up her being 5 when he was 12. All right? And now I'm not saying she wasn't victimized as 12, but she wasn't victimized by a fucking predator. You know? She was victimized by a kid without any fucking guidance. All right. Now, later on, that's a different story. Okay. That's a different story. But if you're going to fucking be accurate, be accurate. Like if you're going to point this shit out, like being 12 is just as bad as a victim as if you're 5. There's no, you know what I mean? Like a victim of SA at 12 years old is just as bad as a victim of SA at 5 years old, man. You know what I'm saying, dude? Like, so just fucking be accurate, man. You know, that's all I'm saying. Be accurate. Like if you're trying to make this guy out to be a piece of shit, okay. But, you know, do it responsibly. Do it responsibly because, yes, you can fairly make this guy out to be a piece of shit for sure. Nobody's denying that. But do it fucking accurately.
and she came
like that just
forward
proves
because
that he's just trying to make the situation more dramatic. You know what I mean? She was 5. She was only 5. Okay, dude. We know that, but he was only 12. But you could stay, like, it makes things more fucking impactful for the sake of the drama on your channel that brings you views and super chats. Saying that she was 12 and he was 19 would work better for you, bro. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. You know, that's all I'm saying. You don't have to fucking make it that much more dramatic because you're overdoing it and you're making yourself look like a fucking jackass by doing that. Okay. Yep. Linda Wayman, you just fucked up by making this comment in my chat because maybe you just joined us, but maybe you weren't here when I made the point because a 12-year-old knows better, right? Okay. So if a 12-year-old girl is SA'd by somebody who's 19, are you saying that she should have known better? Are you blaming the fucking victim? Because now you just pissed me off. Are you saying that a 12-year-old girl who is SA'd by somebody who is of age, that she should have known better and she's not a victim? Is that what you're implying by saying a 12-year-old knows better, dude? Fuck you.
because Summer
God,
empowered
stupidity
her to come
makes
forward.
me so fucking mad sometimes.
And she came forward to tell her story, hoping that it would help tell Summer's story.
Oh,
And
that's
Mary
right.
the same way. The two sisters, stepsisters.
That's right. You're
to
saying
this guy.
Cherry, she's all yours. Cherry, she's all yours, man. Because I can't. I can't. This woman done pissed me off. Yeah. She's doubling down. She's doubling down. She's all yours, Cherry.
Who's now writing letters from jail and getting all the media around the world saying, oh, well, he's a really nice guy. No. He's evil.
How the fuck do you know
And
that?
he's a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Not in sheep's clothing.
And
He's a
you know,
dumbass fucking
unfortunately,
drug addict. Listen,
whether or not
okay,
you know he's
all right,
connected to the summer problem.
Let me clear this up real quick. Let me clear up this whole Don Wells is a wolf in sheep's clothing. Now, is he a piece of shit? Absolutely. I agree. I think that Don Wells is absolutely a piece of shit for sure. But the fact of the matter is that he's not a wolf in sheep's clothing, because that would imply that he's a smart criminal. A smart criminal doesn't fucking violate his probation by getting caught with a DUI and a fucking handgun. Okay, because if he was a fucking wolf in sheep's clothing, well, then he wouldn't be locked up in jail right now. Is he a wolf? Sure, but he's not in sheep's clothing. He's not in sheep's clothing. He's a wolf who decided to fucking paint stripes on himself and try to pass himself off as a fucking zebra. It's like, wait a second, man. Hey, wolf. You know, I know you look like a zebra, kinda, but we can tell you're a wolf, bro. You know what I mean? Like, that's Don. Don's not a smart criminal. He's a fucking idiot. Okay? He's not a smart guy. That's also why I don't think that he got away with the perfect fucking crime. Doesn't make sense. Now, I'm not saying he's innocent. I'm just saying I got more reason to think that he didn't do this than he did. Now, if more things come out later, okay, great. But what we know now is that Don Wells is a criminal, but a stupid one.
Is irrelevant.
But you know, this
he's definitely
this
connected
investigator,
to their problem.
you know,
and he'll be held
knows better.
accountable, you know, God willing, on what he's done. And you two are just the tip of the iceberg, in my opinion and experience.
Exactly, Kiko.
I think there are many, many more victims of this guy. And I don't call you victims, I call you survivors.
Yeah.
But there are still victims out there that have not been able to recover into the idea of survivor yet. So you girls are very strong. You women are very strong, and keep pressing forward. Okay, so now let's talk about, we've got Hunter potentially being set up as an alibi based on what you're saying. So let's talk about Summer for a second, okay, from your perspective. Okay, and we see her in this outfit, the one that, you know, she's supposed to be wearing on her first day of kindergarten. Okay, that's how the parents have described the outfit and why she's in that outfit. Okay, what say you?
What was that?
Go ahead, Dean.
That's all right. What are your thoughts on the outfit?
So the outfit, it's just like with anything, okay? There was a planned exchange. And so, you know, with anything, you're dropping your child off at a birthday party or school, you know, they need to be appropriately dressed. Summer was in a bathing suit, possibly no shoes. The outfit was brought on purpose because she needed to be
Dressed
ready.
in some,
Well, yeah, shoes, you know.
yeah, ready to
clothes.
go. Yep.
You mean she had a change of clothes brought? She was dressed in a bathing suit when she went to the swimming hole, and there was a change of clothes brought that were dry that she could change into? Yeah, that's suspicious as fuck. Morons.
So you think it's a grooming tactic?
What?
I mean, possibly, I guess.
This
I
is
just
fucking
feel
mind
like
blowing, and there are thousands of people who are buying
they
into
were-
this shit.
you know, it's just like with anything.
That's crazy to me. Thousands of people are buying into
know,
this shit.
I don't know, I guess. I just feel like that they put the outfit on her because she was going somewhere. They were taking her somewhere.
Yeah.
Everybody talks about, you know, even Dudley talked about Summer running around in her underwear, no shoes. A up
You
on
mean
the
you mean
the
like a
scaffolding.
5-year-old does around her
No,
own
she,
house?
just, which is fine, whatever. But I'm
Yeah, it
just
is
saying,
fine. What are you
they
saying?
didn't make it a point to wear clothes, full outfits. They could be out there in their t-shirt and underwear. And
So
to me, the outfit was put on for a reason, because she was going somewhere. She was taking her somewhere. She was going somewhere
yeah, like
Yeah.
all the stops that they made in public
Yeah.
on a
since
trip.
since the water
You're going
hole.
to visit grandma, you get dressed. You don't send her in a bathing suit.
Right. Yeah.
Mary?
Yeah.
You
Well,
go to a-
that's what I think too, because even my own daughter, when she was before her first day of school,
They're dry clothes, asshole. Like, they're dry clothes, bro. You put the kid in dry clothes after they get out of the fucking pool or the swimming hole or wherever the fuck, the lake, whatever. The kid goes swimming. You have dry clothes for the kid. You put the kid in the dry clothes. What's so hard to understand about that? How is that grooming? What are you talking about?
I took them shopping and everything, and I dressed her up in her school clothes a couple of days before she was ready for kindergarten, and I took pictures of her and took her to grandma's house, and
Oh, you must have been
and
grooming her
stuff
then.
like that. So yeah, I think so. They dressed her in her school clothes for a reason.
Yeah.
You must have been grooming
And
your child then.
Remember,
If you put your
obviously, we're
kid in their
dealing with
clothes and
very-
we're taking pictures,
I know
oh my
sophistication
God.
is kind of a big word, but we're dealing with an individual that's been to prison, what, 3 times? 3 separate times?
Donnie,
Yeah.
Or more.
I think it's more than that, but at least 30, yeah.
Yeah, there's a reason, dickhead, that people who are in prison for child molestation or rape end up getting fucking shanked and murdered in prison. Because most prisoners, even though they're bad people who do fucked up, horrible shit, they have no respect for people who do sexual assault towards kids. They have that much respect because those people actually have kids. Just because you do bad things like rob a bank, murder somebody, it doesn't mean that you don't love your children. It does not mean that. That's why those type of people end up getting murdered, because you're making all of them look bad. Like they don't want to have to be stuck and incarcerated with people of that caliber of disgust. There's a reason for that. Okay, so you don't get to just say, just because somebody's been to prison a bunch of times, that they're capable of molesting and murdering children, dude. Yeah, that's another subject, Crispy Treat. I'll look into that later.
At least 3 times, and at least Lord only knows how many times in the county jail.
And what I find interesting is if you go back and you watch him, how he introduced himself to the behavior panel, he introduces himself as a career
He
criminal.
even acknowledges the behavior
I
panel.
grew up in the system.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and then you have to ask yourself, okay, well, if this guy's already starting the conversation off like that,
don't you have to ask yourself whether or not you have any you invest any credibility into the behavior panel, because they said that they didn't find anything suspicious about him. So yeah.
How in the world is he going to be truthful? Because this guy's a master of manipulation.
No, he's not.
And he utilized
no,
those
he's
techniques,
not.
Very early on in both of your cases. I mean, this guy, every time he would come back, he would keep manipulating and learning.
He's a master
And then
of
eventually he became a
manipulation.
master
He's a
of
master.
assault.
Master of assault.
And what does he do through this whole thing? He turns it on his victims.
Turns it on his
You know,
victims.
For the last year, I can't tell you how many times he called me
This guy sucks.
and was just enraged that I spoken to either one of you. And to me, it was like, oh, I got this guy. I'm in the vein here on him. Okay.
Now, wouldn't you be enraged? I mean, like if my if my child went missing, right? And you came off like you were trying to help me find my child, and then all of a sudden you just put your focus on me based on something that happened in the past that I have shown remorse for, have expressed remorse for, have admitted to, and admitted shame to. Now, that doesn't excuse what he did, but I'm just making a point here. If I did this, you're going to be surprised that I'm going to look at you as a fucking piece of shit because now you took the focus off of my daughter being found and put the focus on me and my past and using that to imply that I had something to do with my daughter's disappearance, even though there's no evidence of that. This is what you're riding on and going with. Like, come on, man. Like, of course he's going to get pissed at you. Of course he's going to look at you as a piece of shit. That doesn't mean that you've got him.
I just realized right then and there that I got him.
This guy sucks, dude.
Okay. And now he's writing letters from jail, and he's just, he's a wolf in sheep's clothing. I mean,
He keeps
it's
saying that.
classic. He's
It's
classic.
classic. It's a wolf in sheep's
And
clothing.
he's got a whole circle of people around him, which is fine. And I, good luck.
He doesn't, though.
Good luck with that. Ted Bundy had a lot of great friends. Did you know? He used to babysit.
You're comparing Don Wells to Ted Bundy, dude. Really? Okay. You're okay. God help me right now, please. This guy's comparing Don Wells to Ted Bundy. You guys know that Ted Bundy represented himself in court, right? Defended himself in court because Ted Bundy was a law student on the verge of being a lawyer. He was this close to being a lawyer himself, and he chose to represent himself in court. And even though he was found guilty, when the judge sentenced him, he even told Ted Bundy, he was like, hey, listen, man, I was impressed. He was like, yeah. I mean, I'm obviously exaggerating, but the judge was basically like, dude, like you had me for a second. You know what I mean? Like, Ted Bundy was a genius. Ted Bundy was a master manipulator. Okay? Don Wells is no Ted Bundy. Not even close. Okay? Come on.
For some of the kids.
I can't believe somebody gave this guy a badge, dude. That's where I'm at now. Like, just from this live stream alone, I'm fucking shocked that this guy had a fucking government issued fucking gun. Somebody was like, here, it's loaded. I can't fucking believe that. That's crazy to me. That like somebody was like, oh, okay, go out and arrest people. Like, what shit kicking town did this guy fucking work for? What? Where the fuck did this guy get his badge, dude? That's crazy to me. That is crazy to me that this guy was out there fucking building cases on people and arresting them. How many innocent people are in jail right now because of this guy? That's what I want to know. At this point, how many fucking innocent people are out there are in jail right now because of this guy? Dude, I just finished watching a series on HBO Max called Mind Over Murder. Type of 1 if you watch that documentary series. There's probably not many of you. But if you follow true crime, I highly recommend it. Okay? But type of 1 if you've watched this documentary series called Mind Over Murder. It's on HBO. and it's about 6 people, right? 6 people that were coerced into admitting their crime, admitting to a crime that they didn't do. Now, yes, it's called mind over murder. And it's crazy. And it's all because of the lead investigator, who basically his tactics were just fucked up. He didn't beat anybody. He didn't torture anybody. He didn't do anything. He just like got them to like, he just basically cornered them and said, well, if you don't plead guilty to this, then you're going to end up with the death penalty. You're going to end up getting killed because we have so much evidence against you, because this person's going to testify against you. So we basically got 6 people to turn on each other. And then the result of that turned out to be that they all got convicted, and none of them were even there. None of them were even there. This guy reminds me of that investigator, because that guy doubled down, tripled down, quadrupled down years and years and years and years later. Right? It was like, I did my job. I did my job the way I was supposed to do my job. I stand by it. Those people are guilty. DNA exonerated them beyond a reasonable doubt. Right? DNA exonerated them and then totally nailed the person that was guilty. They caught the guy that was guilty. Well, unfortunately, by the time that they found out who the guy was, he was already dead. He died of AIDS. Right? Right. Just like the West Memphis 3. Perfectly imperfect. Right. But this was 6 people, not 3, 6 people. But the thing is the West Memphis 3 didn't admit to anything. They were like, we didn't do it. There's different circumstances. Similar situation because they were wrongfully convicted, but under different circumstances. Right? But this guy reminds me of the investigator. Like, I could just see, like, I don't see how Chris McDonough, like, ever, I don't understand how he was ever put in charge of ever collecting evidence that would convict somebody. I want to know if there's anybody that is in prison right now because of that dude's investigation tactics. Because what I'm looking at now makes me think that there's somebody in prison that's innocent. That's what I'm looking at right now, based on this guy's logic. And I pray for that person or those people.
In the neighborhood, moms would drop their houses off at Ted Bundy's house. And they were always like, oh, this is the greatest.
Moms would drop their houses off at Ted Bundy's house. We would lock it up to the back of a truck, and we would just lift up the house, and we would drive it all the way to Ted Bundy's house and to the mom's house. And the mom's house would be at Ted Bundy's house because we would drop off houses at Ted Bundy's house. Fucking moron.
Greatest guy in the world. He's so nice to my children and yada
That'd
yada.
be a red flag to me.
You know, you know what I mean? But later on, you know, if you look at BTK, Dennis Rader,
Oh God.
that guy was a scoutmaster.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't get, you know, he's such a nice guy. He's taking our kids camping, you know. Well, meanwhile, he's killing women on the side.
Yeah.
Okay. And, you know, that's kind of you know, an interesting take here. So when you see these
No,
little
I did not know that.
subtleties
Corvette
of
Sally.
using Hunter for an alibi, like you're talking about, you know, the creeper on the property introduced into the conversation, and
All
and
right,
who
Cherry, looks like we got some work to do. Let's dig up, Cherry. Let's dig up a little bit on old Chris's career here, because I want to know. I want to know a little bit more about this guy now. You're on my radar now, Chris.
who does he choose? He chooses a pedophile on the property, somebody trying to touch the kids.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
who does that? Hey, Candace, yeah, when are you coming home? I just want to tell you there's a guy up here trying to touch the kids.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's the other thing. There's somebody up there touching the kids. Why hasn't it been addressed?
For the
Why
for the
didn't,
future.
if they seen
For the
this
future. We're
happening,
not doing
why
that
wasn't he
tonight.
confronted? Why wasn't he?
Oh shit. Sorry, hold on. Yeah, Cherry, for the future. Actually, let me just end that there. Fuck that. I've covered enough of that live stream. Yeah, for the future, we'll do this. We'll go into this more later. We'll go into old Chris McDonough a little bit later. Dig a little deeper. I'm not doing that tonight. Sorry, I'm looking at chat here. Yeah, Heels, I know you've been doing a lot of work on this, dude. So yeah, any information that you have, share it with Cherry, and yeah, I'm gonna dig a little deep. I want to focus more on Chris's career because I'm just blown away. Like I don't see how this dude was ever this dude ever held a badge. It blows my mind. Like it's crazy to me that this dude was actually responsible for collecting evidence. How the fuck was this dude ever responsible for collecting evidence? Wasn't he a detective? I got a jar of dirt. I feel bad for the dog. Yeah, that's the thing is, I mean, if somebody's genuinely guilty, there's no reason why you should violate anybody's civil rights during their interrogation. Like, if the idea is to actually get a conviction, then why are you violating anybody's civil rights? Like, as a police officer, you're sworn to uphold people's civil rights. So I have no respect for cops who violate civil rights. And if he actually did that, well, I got no respect. You know, and that's the thing is I really support law enforcement. I wouldn't be talking, I wouldn't have my position on the Summer Wells case, the position that I currently have, if I didn't respect law enforcement. Like I'm supporting Summer by supporting the law enforcement investigators that are in charge of finding Summer. Like that's oh yeah, I need to know more about this Michael Crow case, and I'm gonna review it most definitely. I want to know everything about that. I want to know everything about that, and I hope he tries to strike this. I hope you, man, fuck you, Chris. I hope you try and strike me over this. Kiss my ass. chasing the needle. Who the fuck takes this guy seriously, man? That's crazy to me. MGL struck you? Jesus, man. Like, I have no respect for anybody striking anybody else's channels, dude. Seriously, I have no respect for that at all. Like, I mean, I get it. Like, sometimes, I mean, there's people who have gotten stricken that I think is funny because they'll just run somebody's content without saying a word. They'll just run it like it's their content. That's like, no, you can't do that. You can review other people's content, but you can't just like play their shit and be like, that's fair use. You know, no, that doesn't work. Yeah, no, yeah. I believe it. That speaks volumes to me. People who strike other people's channels, like, I think that's total bullshit. I think it's hilarious. Like Katie Joy without a crystal ball tried to strike me when I was running like one of her lives. Like she tried to strike me while I was live streaming her content. And then I got an email. It was the most beautiful thing in the world. I got an email from YouTube going, somebody tried to strike you. And it turns out it was under fair use. We decided, so you get to keep running your channel. You get to keep running your stream. And then I showed the email during that stream. It was just beautiful. It was great. It was such a big fuck you to Katie Joy. But like, I mean, yeah, it sucks, dude. Like there's a creator that like in the LawTube community, there's a creator that struck this one clip channel. She likes to clip a bunch of people on the LawTube community, and he struck her, and man, that didn't go over well. Now he's pretty much like ostracized from the LawTube community. Like he's getting like, and it sucks, dude. I almost feel bad for him. Cause like I was seeing him on Rekida's live streams during the Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing. And like, he was on panel with Rekida, and Rekida's channel was blowing up. Right. What? Rackets is on on day 9 of a 7-day ban. That's bullshit. That's crazy. Yeah, that's not good. But yeah, like this dude was on Rackets panel during the Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing, and like he had a great opportunity because this dude's a lawyer too, you know what I mean? And he had a great opportunity and his channel blew up. You know, and then this guy ends up like striking somebody, and then everybody in the LawTube community was just like, dude, that's not cool. And Rekida even was like, yeah, this dude's my friend, but I don't agree with that shit. And I'm not going to name his name because I think that's shitty. But the poor guy, I feel bad. You know, he seems a little awkward. But he seems like a nice enough guy. I think he like drank too much and got mad and then struck somebody. That's what I think happened. No, it wasn't the DUI guy. No, it wasn't. It wasn't him. But yeah, he got pissed off because somebody was streaming his shit and reviewing him, and he got mad, and then he struck her, and so the rest of the LawTube community is just like, yeah, we don't do that, dude. We don't do that. Because there's just no integrity in that shit. There's literally no fucking integrity in that. Like, dude, nut up, man. Like, just like have some balls and just handle criticism. You know? Like, it was an umbrella guy. No, it wasn't umbrella guy. Tug's not gonna strike anybody, dude. Yeah, Heels, it was him. Yeah. Yeah. And like, I mean, and I like the guy because he was covering Kay's lawsuit. Like nobody else was doing that. And he was a lawyer doing it. And I was like, yeah, man, this is great. But like after that happened, man, I saw like his views go from like having like 2,000-3,000 people in his chat after the Johnny Depp thing to having like maybe 100. And I was just like, man, that's sad. Yeah, Tug is definitely against strikes. Tug helped me with my strike. The first time I got struck, Tug helped me through it. Like I will always be in debt to Tug for my knowledge of how to deal with YouTube shit. Because I was just the first time I got struck, I was just gonna just take it rolling over. You know, I was just like, well, I guess I can't go live for fucking 90 days, you know, and then he was like, nope. You don't have to just sit there and take that shit, dude. This is what you do. And I was like, all right. No, you're right. YouTube does not like strikes. YouTube is a middle person. Like that's it. YouTube is a platform. And that's it. Like they, you know, now YouTube, I believe, will favor the creator that generates the most income, that generates the most revenue for YouTube, for Google, for sure. I absolutely believe that. But yeah, at the end of the day, it costs them revenue. Because both of those creators, chances are, create revenue for YouTube. YouTube takes 30% of everything that a creator makes. Oh, yeah. YouTube probably does think I'm a troublemaker. Good. Good. I am a fucking troublemaker. I take pride in being a fucking troublemaker. You're almost there. Only 80 more subs. Y'all, like, subscribe to Heels in the Air, man. She's a great clip channel. Only 80 more subs for her to get to 10,000, man. I really want to see her get to 10,000. So if you're not subscribed to Heels in the Air, make sure you are. I already did it for you, Heels in the Air. Calm the fuck down. I got you. I got you. Was I ever in a union? I would make a great union steward. Probably. I mean, no, I was never in a union, but yeah, yeah, I'm definitely the guy that's just not afraid of repercussions for running my mouth. It's just in my nature. Like, I just don't give a fuck. Sugar Magnolia, you were listening to JD last night? You mean Johnny Depp? Does that mean that you were listening to Hollywood Vampires? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This is a safe place. Yeah, this is a safe place for people who have been traumatized and hurt by the lack of talent in Hollywood Vampires. It's a terrible band. Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah, I've been on for almost 3 hours there, SW Firefly. So yeah, we're done with the Chris McDonough review for tonight. But he's definitely more on my radar than he already was. I'm going to look into his illustrious law enforcement career moving forward. Exactly, Tim Tarman. See, man. Johnny Depp be like, we could be heroes, except you're not. Like, when you sing, you're not a hero at all. Yeah, JD, stick to acting. Now, hopefully, he's going to get some better acting deals, because this Amber Heard asshole has railroaded his career to a point to where, like, he had to take real shit roles in real shit movies. So I'm really hoping that this will change things. And you know, I'll be subscribing to Amber Heard's OnlyFans when it's there, as long as it's free, because I'm not paying for that shit. I ain't paying for that shit. Totally. That's totally what he is, Tim Tarman. Oh, I don't know if she has an OnlyFans. I'm just making the point that Amber Heard's career is fucked. It is done. Like, she's not going to get anything. Like, it's gotten to the point to where, like, they have to redo Aquaman 2, basically, like, all together. And in order to, like, appease the audience for having to wait for it, they've signed Ben Affleck back on to play Batman. So Ben Affleck's Batman will be a character in that, whereas Ben Affleck said he was done playing Batman. So somehow they were able to offer him a shit ton of money. And if I had to guess, I'd say it was Amber Heard's salary on top of something else to entice him, to convince him to do it. So we will be seeing Ben Affleck's Batman in the new Aquaman movie. So I'll go see it. You know, now that that's there, okay. Well, yeah, I like Ben Affleck, man. I don't think he's much of an actor, Phoebe Beach. I don't think he's much of an actor, but I think he's an incredibly underrated director. I think he's a great director. Every movie that I've seen him direct is fantastic. Oh, Bex, stop it. Affleck doesn't suck. His face bothered me a lot. Like, I'd see him in movies. I think what happens, because I think this is what happened to me. I think that he played the role of O'Banion in Dazed and Confused so well that you just hated his face and his demeanor. It was so perfect. Like, you were supposed to hate that character, and Ben Affleck was perfectly cast in that role in Dazed and Confused. And ever since then, like it took me years, and ever since I couldn't get that character out of my head. Every time I saw him in another movie, it just, his face bothered me. Everything about Affleck fucking bothered me. And then he directed Gone Baby Gone, and I was like, wow, that's a really good movie. And I like Casey Affleck as an actor a lot. I like his brother better as an actor, most definitely. But like, The Town was awesome. Ben Affleck directed that too, and he was in it, and I thought The Town was great. Yeah, well, he's supposed to look like Scott Peterson, because Gone Girl was supposed to be loosely based on Scott Peterson. Yeah, Casey Affleck is great, man. If you really want to see Casey Affleck's acting shine, like the best acting that dude has ever done on screen so far, is The Assassination of Jesse James by the Coward Robert Ford. That's the title. It's a long title. It is called The Assassination of Jesse James by the Coward Robert Ford. And he plays Robert Ford, and it's incredible. Brad Pitt plays Jesse James. It's just a really, really good movie. It's slow, but the acting is amazing in that movie. I've seen that movie like 3 or 4 times, and I would watch it again. I would definitely watch it again, because the directing in that movie is also like, it's just a beautifully shot film. Like there's like little details are really cool, because like there's like windows, the way that windows were, the way that windows were in houses, the way that glass was, it was just different, and so they would shoot certain shots through those windows, and you could see that, and it really gave you a feel of the time, of the time that these movies took place, or that movie took place. It's just a really, really, really good movie. And the dialogue is great. And yeah, and Casey Affleck is just so, his character is that of somebody who just makes you really uncomfortable. He's got that really weird vibe about him, and he's described that way in the movie. Like Jesse James, Frank James, who is Jesse James's older brother, he was just say, I don't know what the fuck it is about you, dude, but something about you just gives me the willies, man. You're like, you need to stay the fuck away, you know? and he was just an awkward dude. And he ended up being the one who assassinates Jesse James, and he does it in the most cowardly way possible. But it's just so well done. I think we do get good movies sometimes. It's been a while since we've had a really good movie. I Got a Jar of Dirt. It's like COVID happened, and all this woke shit happened, and everybody's got to play by these certain rules now, and but that's starting to deplete a little bit, Because if everybody was caught onto that woke shit, I wouldn't have an audience. I wouldn't have an audience. And I actually have a demographic in my chat of liberals who are sick and tired of the woke shit. You know what I mean? So we're getting there. You just got to be patient. We're getting there. Deadwood was a good series. I wouldn't say it was the best series ever, but it was good. I'm getting some text messages. This might turn out to be a really long live. I don't know yet though. Hold on. Oh God. Sorry, I'm getting text messages from somebody that and it's in regards to the Drea Marvon thing. Yeah, apparently I'll cover this stuff tomorrow, I think. That'll just be another live I do, but old without a crystal ball is at it. She's oh man. Yeah, old KJ. She's at her antics again. Fun stuff. So, yeah. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, guys. I appreciate all you guys so much. I love you guys so much. I had a lot of fun, as always. Even though I got my moments where I get all pissy and mad, but we try to have fun as much as we can. And I appreciate you guys sticking around and hanging out with me. I love you, and we will do this again very soon.